Hey, Brad Kearns here to talk about the most beautiful and complex of all the track and field events. It's the high jump. That's right, what a challenge. Get your entire body over a bar that raises higher and higher. The female world record is right around 7 feet and the male world record 8 feet. That's the height of a ceiling in your home. So the popular technique of the day, the Fosbury Flop, allows you to incrementally get parts of your body over the bar. The back is arched over the top of the bar, and this allows your center of mass to actually stay underneath the bar, the concentration of most of your weight, because you're only dipping over the bar first with your head, then your back, then your legs. So that familiar back bend over the bar. So in the high jump, you have to build up some speed on the horizontal plane, running straight ahead, and then you curve the familiar J-shaped approach. You curve as you approach the bar to transfer that energy, that horizontal energy, into the vertical plane. So you jump up in the air and then fly over the bar. So if you execute everything correctly, the straight run-up approach to build speed, the J-shaped curve, and then the takeoff with your body in the right position at takeoff, you will transfer all that energy from the horizontal plane running into the vertical plane to the takeoff. It's called angular momentum, kind of like getting spit out of a vortex, or if you're doing the lasso and you throw it, you stop that circular motion and then it goes forward. Or if you slam on the brakes in a car, everything goes forward. So really the high jump, it's a violent sport because you're running, you're curving, you plant for the takeoff, and then you basically slam on the brakes with your body and you get spit up and over the bar. That's the beautiful effect that you want to achieve from the proper run-up and the Fosbury flops. So we'll go through a few tips and pointers to execute, see if you can get out there, make some progress, set that bar ever higher. What a great measure for success and progress. And me, I'm in the older masters division, so if I can keep raising that bar as I get older, I'm defying the aging process. What a wonderful event. It requires so many skills. You got to have the speed, you got to have the power and the explosiveness. You have to have tremendous attention to technique and the details of the technique, and then that spatial awareness in the air to understand how to bend your body correctly, have a sensation for where the bar is, and get that body over the bar. Let's put it all together. Let's learn how to do this thing right, have some fun, and we'll start with the approach. You're going to get started running in a straight line. There's different number of steps, and the more advanced you get in the high jump, you might pick a particular approach, like a 9-step approach or a 7-step approach. Some people recommend 5 steps running straight ahead, and then 5 steps around your curve. So right now we're going to think about just getting started and running nice and tall with the hips high the whole time, landing on your midfoot and allowing the Achilles tendon to strike down on the ground so you get maximum spring, just like you watched on my running technique instruction video. So you're going to have a nice tall stride. You can see the athletes in the Olympics running with these huge bounding strides sometimes, just to get into that rhythm of being tall and explosive. So as you start the run up, that straight ahead approach, you're getting your speed going with 3, 4, or 5 strides, and then as you initiate the turn, you're going to start leaning into the curve with your entire body, okay? So you're going to start changing the shape of your center of gravity, trying to lean into this curve and preserve this lean all the way through until you take off. So it's, let's say, 5 straight strides, and then you're going to make that turn and have some strides where you're running along a curve. We're going to do some drills to practice that curved running position, and then when you take off, you're leaning away from the bar with that 45-degree angle of the body, leaning back and away from the bar. And that's when you imagine this lasso effect, where you're running this circle, then you slam on the brakes from this position and you get launched straight up into the air. And that rotational force that's coming from the curved run is going to spit you not just straight up, but up and over the bar eventually. So everything happens on the ground, and as soon as you take off, it's difficult to correct anything that went wrong. So you want to take off in the perfect position, get up and take off vertically. Also, another thing, for sprinting, you saw the running technique instruction video where I wanted you to have a nice, firm, stable base here to launch those sprint strides. In high jump, it's a little different. You want to get a little more swivel hips going. Allow you to be loose and then use that momentum, that rotational energy. Same with your upper body. When you approach the bar, you're really going to rock that shoulder back and away from the bar to get maximum momentum. So same with the hips. Going to be a little more swivelly than a sprinter or a distance runner. So we're going to be running this nice straight ahead, make that curve nice and relaxed, tall, and then as we approach the final two steps, these are the most important parts of the high jump. The term is the penultimate step, and you'll hear high jumpers talk about that all the time. The second to last step. So I take off with my left foot, starting from the right side of the pad. A lot of people take off the other way, so everything's backwards. But if I'm a left foot takeoff, that means my penultimate step is my right leg. So I'm going to put that leg down, and when I do so on the penultimate step, I'm going to lower my center of gravity a bit, just like when you're jumping up to dunk a basketball. You have to lower your center of gravity first and then explode out of that. So that penultimate step lowers the hips a little bit from that nice tall run that we had the whole time. I'm going to take that step down. So I'm going to take full advantage of my explosive potential by landing on the heel first, rolling into the rest of the foot, and loading that spring-like Achilles tendon to get ready to help me spring with my final foot, my takeoff foot. And the takeoff foot also is, very importantly, starting with a heel landing on the ground. So you can see Gianmarco Tamberi coming in with that beautiful 45-degree lean backwards. The heel's about to strike first on the takeoff leg, and then he rotates through to actually a vertical takeoff, spit over that bar. Watch how his body transfers from 45-degree, boom, into vertical as he leaves the ground. That's how he floats over the bar. Okay, and let's watch at regular speed. You can see that power, speed, explosiveness by Tamberi. Here's another powerful athlete. It's Shaunté Lowe, the great American Olympian, and she's one of the fastest approaches you will see in high jump. She's only 5'8", so she relies on her speed. Even in the straightaway, when a lot of athletes are just bounding along, she's already in sprint form. And then that curve, one of the fastest curves you'll see, boom, hit the brakes and fly over the bar for American record. Okay, let's see if we can take a look at this stuff closer to home, lower to the ground, and I'm demonstrating the initiation of the curved run-up, that penultimate step. You can see my center of gravity lowering. My hips are lowering down when that right leg kicks the ground. Then I'm going to step into the takeoff, making sure that I hit heel first. Very hard to do when you're standing there rather than running full speed, but I can demonstrate my shoulders leaning back and away from the bar and letting that takeoff leg go down with my center of gravity low, explode out of it, and boom, driving that right knee as well as the arms up in the air in a nice sequence, powerful motion. So as soon as that penultimate step does its thing, your center of gravity is low and you explode out of it into a vertical takeoff. So we're leaning back at 45 as we hit the ground with our final step, and then transition to my body standing straight up with a vertical takeoff. Okay, a little demo here where I'm trying to just pop that takeoff. Nice low bar, so I'm not worried about the challenge. I'm just working on technique, getting that 45-degree angle, explode off the ground, drive the knee, arch the back. And speaking of that right knee, as soon as you take off, actually just as you're about to leave the ground, you want to drive the knee up and across your body toward your left shoulder. And that will make your body move in the air into that backwards position, that arched position over the bar. So it's actually right before you take off. You can see some of the great jumpers will have that knee crossing their body while they're still touching the ground. And that creates the momentum for your body to turn and arch over the bar. Here's a common mistake that a lot of novice jumpers make. They're doing great, they're leaning into the curve, they got their shoulders, and then, oops, they face the bar at the last second because they're so desperate to see the bar that they're trying to jump over. And you will see, definitely, if you turn your shoulders toward the bar at the last second, you'll jump right into the bar and knock it over. So you got to preserve that 45-degree angle, and that will create the angular momentum to spit you up and over the bar. Mutaz Barshim from Qatar will demonstrate. Look at him as he's taken off, that beautiful 45-degree angle, and then by the time he leaves the ground, his body's in perfect vertical takeoff position. You can see the right knee crossing over his body already, just as he's leaving the ground, and that is creating that whip-like energy to twist his body backwards, flip over that bar. So really, once you've done all your energy to get yourself up in the air, to initiate that bend over the bar, it's about tightening the glutes and throwing that chin back, and that will force everything into that beautiful curve position that you see with the great high jumpers getting over the bar. And then the final stage is to get those legs over the bar, and the way you do that is you change from that dipped position, throwing your chin back to your chest, and that'll flip the legs over the bar. We can watch people do it in action, probably the best. Difficult to do in slow motion, but that's the idea, is you get that beautiful vertical takeoff, driving your knee over to your shoulder. That'll turn your body, dip your head, tighten your glutes, get over that bar, flip the legs over so you don't knock it off. What a bummer that would be. And then land, and if you did this properly and you got all the rotation that you deserve, your maximum potential, you're going to land on your upper back, certainly not your butt or your legs. And you see the great high jumpers, when they clear the bar, they have so much rotation that they will actually do a 3/4 or a 7/8 of a back flip. In other words, they'll land so far on their upper back that they're already completed a flip. Amazing. Let's watch the great Mutaz Barshim do it at the Rio Olympics. Boom! And almost a complete flip by the time he lands on the pad. Here's the gold medalist, Drouin of Canada. Same thing, man. Explosive takeoff almost all the way to a flip, and he wins the gold. Beautiful performance. You can learn so much from watching the great ones. Here's Barshim, number 2 high jumper of all time, 2 meters 43. That's 7'11" and 2/3. He's knocking on your ceiling, man. Look at that perfect takeoff position, driving that knee as we saw, and almost a complete flip onto the pad. Shaunté Lowe, the most speedy, explosive female jumper. She's only 5'8", so she has to make up for her lack of height in comparison to her competitors with just pure speed on the runway, on the curve. And then you can see she's just shot over the bar. She did all her work on the ground, and a beautiful clearance. Her PR's up there at 6'8", American record. Here goes Barshim at full speed. Boom. To the cheers of the crowd. Shaunté Lowe, same thing, full speed. Look at that speed. Beautiful. I have so much fun with this sport. I'm so happy that you watched the video. Hopefully you can learn a lot from it, and I'll see you out there at the pit someday. Send me some comments if you have some. getoveryourselfpodcast@gmail.com. And guess what? You're allowed to have fun and yell and scream if you do something good.